It's Wednesday, so you know we're winging it.
Today we're visiting with Dee and Greg, who travel full-time with 5 kids. Yeah,
wow.
5. How's it working out for them? Are they crazy? We're going to learn about their journey on this episode of Wingin' It. Hey y'all, welcome back. I'm Stacy.
I'm Tom, and we're RV Texas, y'all.
We are native Texans and full-time RVers who are all about exploring the great state of Texas and beyond, one campground at a time. We're on a mission to experience life, not just live it, and we're bringing you along for the fun.
In 2018, we sold our house, our business, and got rid of most everything we owned to hit the road and see America. Our home is a 33-foot RV named Freedom. We installed an extreme solar and lithium setup, so now we can just about live anywhere with our dog Star and our cat Astro.
Every day is a new adventure, so join us as we RV America, y'all. Oh my gosh, what a beautiful day here at Jamaica Beach RV Resort in Galveston Island. And one of the reasons we love to come here is because we get to meet so many great folks, and that's where we met. So let's quickly review the rules of Wingin' It before we get into it. Since we're here with friends, we set the timer on my phone for 15 minutes. We talk about the topic. When the timer goes off, we wrap things up. This is completely unedited, unscripted, and you get what you get. So, 15 minutes on the clock. We're winging it.
All right, well guys, the obvious question is, how did you decide and wanted to decide to do this with 5 kids and go full-time on the road? Traveling on the road.
Traveling on the road with 5 kids, what better way to teach kids about the world around us, right? Take it.
Yeah, so we were already homeschooling our kids and traveling a bit. Disney World, different trips, just vacations, and started to put it together that, and she's a nurse, looking at traveling nursing and then traveling administrative roles in hospitals. It all just kind of coalesced. But the big rock for us was the effect on our children. So we had some things we had to do, house and all the pragmatics, you know what those are.
Right.
And we were just like, all right, God, if you take care of all these big rocks, we'll take that as a thumbs up. And he did it, and we left. So.
At first, we started it out as a joke. I said, we should travel full time. and he took it, and we thought, oh, that would be great. He said, well, if all these things fall into place, and we just kept on waiting for the other shoe to drop or something to happen that would be in our way. And nothing ever got in our way. The obstacles just kind of dissipated.
I think she thought it was a joke. I was more of a homebody, and she, if you asked, you probably didn't think I'd run with her, right?
No, I did not.
Be careful what you wish for.
Exactly.
How long have y'all done it now?
We're coming up on 3 years,
Yes.
so yeah.
That's awesome. Now you've changed rigs a few times.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Has it taken a little bit to kind of figure out your sweet spot and what works for your family?
It has. There's pluses and minuses to each model, but we quickly figured out our first model really worked well for us. But we switched to a Class A, and that had its pluses. We could drive together, easier to park, etc. But it just wasn't homey enough for our family. We have to have something that works for the family.
Right.
So we went back to the 5th wheel for the more residential, basically with the back porch. It's got 4 rooms and better storage, just better livability for kids, the bunkhouse in the back. So.
Okay, yeah.
Well, you can't really tell it on camera, but I gotta know, Greg is 6'10". So what about you and the comfort level? Class A seems like that would be kind of tough on the height.
It's honestly, it's one of those things that you just set aside. When you're tall, you don't RV for comfort, and we're talking chairs, beds, doorways, it's just, and you know how it is with the bays outside. It's just, you just count it, it's gonna happen, and that's okay, because you're not focused on those things. You're not focused on the creature comforts. This puppy's got some really nice heated recliners, but it ends there.
Yeah, because I don't imagine that shower you fit in there very well.
I get mostly clean. We're camping.
That is awesome.
Now, what has been y'all's, you've been on the road now almost 3 years. What has morphed into how you travel? Like how long you're working in locations, you have to be in a certain location for a certain period of time. Is there a kind of a timeline that you try to stick to for we're gonna stay in each spot a certain period of time, or how does that work?
The contracts that I take are typically 6-month contracts, just because I am in more of an administrative role. The shortest contract I can take is a 13-week contract. So we're in a spot anywhere from 3 months to a year.
Okay.
We like to kind of have a spoken wheel, but you say it better.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we pick a location
Yeah.
that's near a big city that's going to have a lot of places that we can spoke out and explore from the campground. Leave the camper behind, hop in the van, and go. We write a map and a bucket list, if you will, for each location, and knock them out. And just be adventurers in that part of the country.
Well, what's great about that is we always talking about living like a local, and you truly get to do that.
Right.
You're in a place long enough,
Right.
whether it's 3 months or 6 months or a year, that you truly get to experience what it would be like to live there.
Yeah.
Is part of your journey maybe something that you're considering finding another location at some point to maybe settle down, or is that not even on your radar?
It's definitely on our radar. We love home, we love friends and family, but what is truly great about living like a local is you get to know people in all areas of the country, and you develop really strong relationships. This guy, he's never met a stranger.
I believe that.
Yeah. So we make friends really quick, and so relocation. It's look at today.
Right. Oh yeah.
And in St. Louis, it's 40 degrees. So.
And that is y'all's hometown in
Yes.
St. Louis.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, so what about your travel time? So you pick up a new contract. How long do you have to get from one place to another typically, or do you try to extend that and see things along the way?
Our typical travel day, we don't like to travel more than 5 hours at a time with the kids. That's just kind of our comfort level, and to where it doesn't get tiring for them. But we absolutely take like months in between contracts, and that's my favorite part about this gig, where we're free. Actually, my last day was yesterday, so for this contract, and so that's what gets me so excited and revives my love of travel. So.
But when she signed in Los Angeles, we were in the Northeast. We were in New Hampshire, and so they sometimes the contract they will say, I need you here by this date, and so she ended up having to fly to LA, and I drove the kids solo cross country because she had to eventually, we didn't quite have enough time to drive the whole journey with her.
Right.
So we made sure after the Los Angeles contract that we took a couple of months to see the sights.
Right. This is all a learning process, isn't it? I mean, I don't think any of us know exactly what's going to work for us until we're actually doing it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, a question I have is, and it's a logistics question. Okay, now you're on the move. You have 7 of you.
Right.
Do you have 2 cars,
Right.
or how do you travel?
Right. So with the motorhome, we towed the van behind and all drove together, but we switched back to the 5th wheel. And unless you spend a whole lot of money, you don't have a tow vehicle. The seats, all those, don't have that many seat belts. And we have to travel separate. So half the kids ride in the minivan and the other half ride in the tow vehicle with me.
Okay, so that's where I had a feeling where the motorhome may have come in for you guys, is you could all travel together in the motorhome and pull the toad behind.
Right, exactly. Big plus, but it just didn't fit the family. When you weighed what it brought you, it just didn't end up being worth it for us. So.
Because of staying in one spot, we're not traveling every day or every week, and so we have to make sure that rig fits our months.
Well, then I can see where it would also work better for y'all when you are somewhere and you're working and you have to be going to the hospital and you are not, maybe you're doing something else that day. It's nice to be able to have the 2 vehicles.
Right.
Absolutely.
So what is it really like though, living in an RV full time with not only the two of you, because we know what that's like,
Yeah.
but with 5 additional people on board. Now, and what are the age ranges of your children?
So our oldest is 16 and our youngest is 5.
Okay.
So we have 3 teenagers on board.
Well, so we know
Just
what's
imagine
going on
that. It's not only 5 kids, it's 3 teenagers.
there. Yeah.
And a very spicy 8-year-old. So it's a real fun mix.
And we met the spicy 8-year-old, and
Yeah.
yes, I think that's a great way to describe her.
Wait.
She has got some spunk, I tell you what.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we asked the kids, well, there are 3 of them around here, and I think it was the 3 oldest. The 2 boys, we said...
Well, no, their 16-year-old daughter, too.
Yeah.
She
oh,
wasn't
yeah.
out
Oh,
here
she
yet.
wasn't out here. The 16-year-old wasn't. But the 2 boys, we asked them, do you all get along? And like they were like, oh, yeah, yeah. But the 8-year-old, she said, no.
That's Kate.
Yep. She's real. She's real 100%.
So what do you think is the biggest challenge of having that many people in an RV all the time? This is not just a weekend or a week here and
Yeah.
there.
It's geometry, you know, it's space and honoring each other's space and picking up on those cues. So this is a special kind of homeschooling where you're forced because of the space constraints to pay attention to each other's needs, you know,
Right.
and so that they're learning, I think, exponentially. Like homeschooling's always been great, but learning on the road when you add this in is just awesome. So you bring in all of the things they get to see and the adventures, but then the learning to deal with each other, who's having a bad day, who needs what, you know, it's dynamic.
Yeah, and you know, I thought it was very interesting. We asked, you know, one of your sons what he thought of the whole experience of living so close as a family, and he said he felt like y'all were actually closer as a family now
Yeah.
than you were before you were living in the RV, because
Right.
you almost have to be.
Right, yeah.
You know, he's
Well,
like, you're together all the time, and
it
you
is.
have to learn those
Right.
things.
It's a choice. You could travel and be miserable.
Sure.
You could travel and not choose to learn those things and just always have tension, or you can say, you know what, we're going to make the best of this, and we're going to become better people while we do this, and the kids have embraced that. Like, they're bonding, you know. So,
Yeah.
but you have your days when it doesn't feel that way.
And then you go outside. It's perfect. It
Yeah.
also encourages finding your own space and speaking up for what you need as a person, and being able, like you said, to deal with different moods, different dynamics, and respect and change the way, you know, everything is exacerbated here. If you have a great mood, that really affects your whole family very quickly. If you are in a bad mood, that also affects your family very quickly, and so you learn to kind of put a cap on it if you need
Right.
to. So.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, I think it's one of the stories you told us that I thought was really neat is the kids needed to learn Spanish, so you went to Mexico.
Yeah.
You know, the kids you wanted them to learn French, so you went to Canada.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It doesn't get any better than that.
Right, and it's much broader than that, you know, whether it's a charter or, you know, you're looking at your homeschooling curriculum and you go, okay, what could we see to be fun for everyone that would pertain to each kid's curriculum? What can we draw out of that? And what a great attitude to teach. What lessons can I learn from what I'm experiencing? So it definitely supplements the homeschool. Like, we want to leave a legacy.
Right.
We don't want to just teach our kids. We want to leave this world better through our children. And that takes an investment, whether that's bopping your head on the RV or being uncomfortable. You know, we're willing to put in that time to say, you know, this world's going to be better because of these 5 kids.
Right.
Yes.
That's awesome.
And
And if it's like us, we tell people we're not doing this to live inside the RV.
Right.
Yes.
We're doing this to live outside the RV.
Absolutely.
Right.
And I think y'all definitely are, because I don't think 7 can live comfortably inside an RV.
And so you've seen some changes in your kids, I'm sure, and even in yourselves since you've taken on this lifestyle. Can you talk a little bit about that? Was it things that you expected, or maybe some unexpected changes in your family, or? Whew, that's a tough one.
That's
I
a
know.
great question.
It
no?
is a great question. I think for me, this transition has been most difficult for me. I'm the nurse. I'm very OCD, very structured, and I very much have a plan. And you guys know, as well
Oh,
as
yeah.
everybody, that when you're RVing, you got to go with the flow.
Right.
And you always have to work around the obstacles that you're facing to have a plan. So that's been the biggest change for me personally, just learning to wing it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And for me, it's learning to be more hands-on. I think going into it, we had our eyes on what the blessings were going to be. We were thankful that God worked it all out. We're like, oh, we're going to see this and we're going to learn this, and of course He laughs when we plan. So there's many other things, but one is I'm in those closed quarters, and so it's getting out of my work. I do stocks, real estate,
crypto. Because you do work from the rig as
from
well.
the rig,
Yep.
Getting out of that computer screen, and harder for guys, harder for husbands, but to get out of that into the needs, and those needs are in your face.
Right.
You got 5 little needs running around, and that's been great for me to become, be less about what I have to get done. And those are good things that I'm doing, and working on, but my children's needs are always more important than those.
Right.
So that's been awesome. I'm thankful for that lesson.
That's awesome. Do you have, and I know there are some folks out there who they either travel maybe with children or extended family, or it's not just 1 or 2 people, and maybe they're thinking of going full time, maybe they're new to full time, maybe they just want to do extended trips, or maybe they're even worried about traveling at all, kind of the logistics of multiple people. What tips can you share with those folks that might be helpful for them?
I think for us, we did watch a lot of videos. We took in as much information as we could, but we were also encouraged by those videos because we had a lot of naysayers in our family. How are you going to do that? And so keeping the positive in your mind. Just keep on telling yourself, what if it works out?
Keep going.
Oh, keep going.
You might want to expand, but
Yeah, no, that's great. So once God blessed it, we looked for we committed. It's like, okay, Lord, work these things out. He did, and we go, okay, well now we got to do it. And then
We're winging it.
yeah.
you commit, and then just dream. Like, imagine right now, I think most people have lots of discouragers in their life.
Right.
Well, what about this? Like, I met with one person, and he's like, well, have you ever been camping? We were like, no. Have you ever been in an RV at all? We were like, no. And he goes, well, don't you think you ought to book a camping trip for the first time in your life before? And we were like, no. because he's already blessed it, and so there's lots of people who think that way, but when God blesses something, you just look, it's possible. You've got to think possible.
Right.
There's plenty of people that discourage. They're not that they're mean people or whatever, but they're not thinking that way.
Right.
We're maybe the culture trains us to think that's impossible.
Right.
Full time with 7 people, with 5 children, are you out of your mind? Right.
Right.
So you've got to think possible.
Do you think y'all are more positive in general now because of this journey?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. I think we're considering things now that we would have never considered before.
Right.
That it doesn't matter that the 50 couples that are the closest to us don't have any experience with that or don't do it, or it's not supposed to be our goals.
Right.
We are, we have considered living on a boat. There's just so many things and so many opportunities you have. So we're definitely more open now than we were.
That's awesome. And I think one thing everybody's going to want to know is, okay, 3 years in, do you see an end to this lifestyle for you guys at this point?
I'll let you go with it.
Well, we know we're changed, and we don't know what the next phase is.
Right.
So we still own the motorhome. So if you need a motorhome, let us know. We can show you that. And we plan to hold on to this. So we don't know what that next phase is. Is it boat life? Is it settling back down in the hometown? One dream we had when we started was we'd shop the country and pick a couple spots and see if we can't get homes there.
Right.
And figure out a way to multi-locate, but we really don't know the next step. So we're back into that spot where we're just daring God. We're just like, okay, what's next?
That's the
wide
fun
open,
part.
wide open.
We might want to go international. I don't know.
Yeah.
And so that's the fun part. And those are the interesting things we are considering. Really, the world is an open book. So we don't know.
That's awesome.
I love it.
So,
I love it.
So I know folks are going to be really interested in talking to you guys more, so make sure you check the comments of this video, and if you
Yes.
have any questions for them, I know they'll be checking it to answer, but also where can they connect directly with
With
you?
you guys.
So you mentioned the channel, Swift Family Robeson Expedition. So we'll have a link to that, and then we'll have a link to our email as well, since the web page isn't up yet. So,
Yeah.
but I'll put that in the comments as well. So
Yeah,
you guys
and
can
are
reach
you on
out.
any other social, Instagram or anything where people can connect? Or
We
you
are, but
focusing-
my daughter's in charge of that. But we'll put a link to that as well. So when you've got a 16-year-old social tech
Hey,
genius,
that,
you know,
use that
you gotta
for sure,
yeah.
you know. And that is what. Okay, real quick, I do have that question. When you guys they're packing up today and they're moving on
Yeah.
to their next destination to go see the family for the holidays, does everybody have a job, or how do you do that?
Yes. So we do have jobs, especially on moving days. The guys help Dad with the outside, and my 16-year-old, she's a whiz. She can pack it better than I can. So she helps with the little one and packing the inside.
That's
So
awesome.
on the daily, we divide the chores into zones, but then on moving day, that completely changes to
Everybody has certain things
Yeah,
that they
everybody,
do.
yeah.
And even with the work, they love moving day. They love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, like we've said before when we were part-time, moving day was the worst day because you were heading back home and going back to the sticks and bricks and the ordinary life. But in this lifestyle, moving day is on to a new adventure.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And it's awesome. I'm glad y'all feel the same way
Yes.
because it's a great day.
It is
It's
a
always
great day.
bittersweet. We meet treasures like you guys and many others in these resorts, and you kind of wish you could stay long, but you're always looking ahead, you know.
Right.
We'll see you again on the road.
Absolutely.
It's until next time,
That's
right?
right.
That
right.
is, yes, looking forward to it.
So thank you so much for sitting down and sharing your journey with
You're
our
welcome.
audience. Be sure you check out their channel and hit the subscribe button and say hello. And any questions that you have, I'm sure they'll be happy to answer.
You bet.
Because they are a wealth of information on this topic. And we look forward to seeing you guys again. Have a safe journey today.
Thank you.
And enjoy the holidays with your family.
For sure.
Thank you. Thank
Thanks
you
for
for
watching.
having us.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And until next time, y'all, make sure you hit that subscribe button for us so you'll be along to meet more super interesting folks like this. We'll see you next time. Keep on winging it. Safe travels.
And happy camping.
Bye.
Bye.